Hey everyone, this is Max at MaxCTCG. Thanks for joining me in another video. So this video we're going over a new YGO organization article with a new Millennium card that we're going to check out and see how good it is and see if it helps push the deck a little bit further. So we've Awaken the Strongest Ka with Blue Eyes of the Heart. This is ROTA, so Rage of the Abyss. We don't have too many reveals from this set yet, so we are getting a few more now, which is nice. So it says Grandpa's Blue Eyes. So Blue Eyes of the Heart is the name. It's a dragon effect, level 8, attack 3000, defense 2500. This card is always treated as a Millennium card. You can only use the first effect of this card's name only once per turn. You can only use the third effect with this card's name only once per duel, only after activating Millennium Ankh. First effect, you can discard this card, add one Millennium Ankh from your deck to your hand. Second effect, possession of this card cannot switch. Third effect, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster whose level is 8 or higher and or with 3000 or more attack, while this card is in your graveyard, you can send that monster to the grave, and if you do, special summon this card. Everyone, this is Editing Max. If you're enjoying the content, hit that thumbs up button, give the video a like, leave any comments if you have any discussions you want to start, and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more of this type of content. Everyone, thanks again for watching the content. I hope you enjoy, and we'll get back to it. So we have this card here that I think is actually pretty good. You know, I think the Millennium cards actually do have legs. I think their strategy makes sense. I think the biggest thing that hurts it is that they have to play the Exodia cards, which are bricks. It's the worst versions of Rescue Ace kind of spawn trap cards, which they didn't want to draw on that deck either. So I think that's really the biggest issue with the strategy. But what I like about this strategy is that it's making a kind of anime deck have some legs to compete competitively. It's not something you have to play to compete. It's not like it's the best deck in the format and now everyone has to play this, which I think does suck for people that are more casual because then these cards get really expensive and they can't play them. But I do think that you can actually play these, which is pretty cool. I think being able to have more ways to get to Millennium Ankh, which is like their main card to get to the Exodia fusion and make those plays, is really cool. Another nice consistency card for that. I think the possession of the card is a really interesting thing. I don't think it's probably going to come up, but I think it's interesting in terms of the lore that like Yuki's grandfather never wanted to give up this card. He wouldn't trade it for as much money as Kaiba was willing to offer for it, and only had it torn up after he lost the duel. So I think that's a really interesting thing. I think possession's also interesting because I believe that's a little different, where I think usually these types of cards effects will say like this can't like switch owner's control, so they can't like talents it or steal it or things like that. But I think possession would apply in other situations, like if you had to use exchange or something. I don't think you can actually give this to your opponent. So I think that's pretty interesting thing to like look into. Again, I don't know if those situations will really ever come up, but it'd be a good thing to know maybe rulings on if you're playing this deck, just as a little kind of mini information to know. It also has a pretty interesting effect too, that's kind of like a Promethean Princess effect that, you know, when your opponent summons 8 or higher and or 3000 more attack, which is a lot of boss monsters in the game. While this is in the grave, you can send that monster to the grave, so non-targeting destruction, which is nice, and then special summon this card. So gets you the body, removes their card, but you can only do that once per duel and after activating Millennium Ankh. But that really shouldn't be an issue because you'll discard this to get Ankh, play this, and then you have this set up in your grave as an interruption. So I think it's actually a really solid card and will help the Millennium deck out. So I think if it's cheap, I would definitely want to check it out. But again, we're not getting this with the rest of the cards in Infinite Forbidden. This is going to be in Rage of the Abyss, so we have to wait a little bit longer. So having a 3 of consistency card missing from the overall deck could hurt. But you know, depending on how many consistency cards the deck can have, then maybe that's going to still be okay. But I do think it's interesting. I think the card's really solid. Hey everyone, this is Editing Max. If you're enjoying the content and you want to support the channel, you can check out the TCG affiliate link in the description below. It supports the channel and costs you nothing, and you'll just be doing the same thing you normally do when buying cards from TCG Player. If you're new to buying cards from TCG Player, check out my website. I have a section on it that helps out newer people, kind of explaining some aspects of TCG Player, so that way you get the most out of your money and don't kind of fall into any of these kind of weird things that some people do to kind of push up the prices of cards. If you want to become a patron of the channel, check out my Patreon. It's another way you can help support the channel. We have different perks you can check out, like a lot of archetype proxies you can see on the screen. Every week I put a new one out that everyone on the channel can vote on, and then those go to Patreon for you can print out. You can also join for early access. Some videos will be 1 day early access, others that are in a longer series could be, you know, weeks out in advance where you can get the entire thing at once. everyone on YouTube has to wait week by week for all the videos to come out. You can also join for a exclusive Yu-Gi-Oh! Reaction series where I watch through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime and we can have a discussion in the comments and kind of watch through it together as well, plus other perks coming out in the future. Everyone, thanks again for watching the content. Now let me know what you guys think. Do you think this card is good? Am I maybe a little overhyped on the Millennium cards? Again, I don't think they're, you know, absolutely amazing, but I think the deck's playable, and I think even better than the Gate Guardian deck that we saw people playing. So I do think it's better than that. We saw some people see a little success with that deck and saw some plays, so I think it's cool that they have this out. Everyone, leave your comments and thoughts below. I'd like to hear what you guys are thinking, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.